Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including new features coming to all Teslas and the Model S, Model Y Texas production updates, Model X refresh sightings, Autopilot investigations, and full self-driving beta updates and more. So let's get into it, and a special thanks to EcoFlow for sponsoring this video. First up today, as we have heard for some time now, NHTSA is formally investigating Tesla's Autopilot system after multiple cars have crashed into parked emergency vehicles with their flashing lights on. Since 2018, NHTSA said they have identified 11 crashes where Tesla vehicles have, quote, encountered first responder scenes and subsequently struck one or more vehicles. As a result, it is covering around 765,000 cars with this investigation, all of which have Tesla's well-known, very functional Autopilot system. In the grand scheme of things, that's a small number of crashes, but now NHTSA is requiring advanced driver assist data from 12 automakers as they seek to expand their Autopilot investigation. Quote, automakers are being asked to provide the number of vehicles with Level 2 systems that have been manufactured in the US, as well as the total number of miles covered with those systems engaged, and a recent list of any changes or updates. Tesla themselves have until October 22nd to hand over their own data, and other automakers like Ford, GM, and more have until November 3rd. Then the rest, including Toyota, Subaru, Nissan, and Honda, have until November 17th. Failing to respond to these requests could result in civil penalties up to $115 million. It'll be interesting to see what comes of this investigation, but overall the minimum might be some stricter driver monitoring requirements from every car with these features. So far, Tesla has just required steering wheel turning force, which unfortunately can be tricked if someone chooses to put themselves at risk and operate the vehicle incorrectly. However, Tesla has begun using the interior camera in their cars, and they are specifically using them for driver monitoring that uses eye tracking to know that you are paying attention and alert you if not. This is a more robust system that can't be tricked as easily, but it still can be, as Car and Driver demonstrated, with every single car capable of driver assistance. Maybe Tesla can figure out a way to have this system not be tricked by sunglasses like Ford's system was, but still, recent studies are showing that Autopilot results in decreased driver attention. A new study from MIT found a noticeable decrease in driver attention when Autopilot is active. Quote, the model replicates the observed glance patterns across drivers. The model's components show that off-road glances were longer with Autopilot active than without, and that their frequency characteristics changed. Driving-related off-road glances were less frequent with Autopilot active than in manual driving, while non-driving related glances to the down/center stack areas were the most frequent and the longest. 22% of glances exceeded 2 seconds. Little difference was found in on-road glance duration. Furthermore, this study found that drivers pay more attention to the road after Autopilot gets disengaged. Quote, before disengagements, drivers looked less on road and focused more on non-driving related areas compared to after the transition to manual driving. The higher proportion of off-road glances before disengagement to manual driving were not compensated by longer glances ahead. Now, to many, these results are obvious, and it's a really tough line to figure out. These systems are at a point right now where they need full attention, but the goal is for them to be fully self-driving without your attention necessary. It's incredibly useful to drive 200 miles straight on Autopilot, like I did just this weekend, but when the whole system works incredibly well for that whole period of time, it's great for your vehicle, but not great for your attention. You may begin trusting the system and may not be fully attentive if something does mess up. Interestingly, regardless of these findings, the data from Tesla shows that Autopilot, when available, is safer than driving for yourself. Having Autopilot engaged lowers your chances of an accident by about 10 times. While neither of these data sets are perfect, it definitely points to this awkward spot of a system that's safe but not perfect, and drivers needing to pay attention while also leading to a self-driving system they won't have to pay attention to. I think Tesla's new camera monitoring that they already have been enabling via over-the-air software updates may become the standard for Autopilot attention after this investigation, but we'll see what happens overall. Next up, some new features are on their way for the new Model S soon. First are some software features that are new or have been missing in the new Model S until now. New features for the Model S include adaptive suspension dampening that uses the suspension dampening algorithm in the car to rebalance the suspension system and give you a smoother ride. Pretty crazy that suspension can be updated and improved upon via a downloadable software update to your car. Immersive sound is the next added feature. Quote, immersive sound now has additional granularity along with an auto setting, which will adjust based on the type of content playing. To access, tap Media, Audio Settings, Immersive Sound, Auto. Sirius XM has been added to the available media sources in the car, and Range Display Battery Improvements is a new feature saying, quote, "Your vehicle's range estimation has been modified to better represent real-world conditions." More than likely, this will mean that the range actually goes down on the display since EPA is never accurate. Under accessibility, Tesla notes that they moved the child lock button to the main control screen, and what you can see there is that this has actually been completely redesigned. Originally, the screen was just buttons, and now the trunk and front buttons have been placed by the car render, just like the Model 3 and Y have. You can see the child lock button at the bottom there. I just got used to the old control screen, and now it has been completely changed, so that'll be interesting to see. A few features that just came to the Model 3 and Y have officially arrived in the Model S, like Disney Plus integration and the option to turn off auto-dimming side mirrors, which I did. Being able to turn this off is a great feature to have when your windows are tinted, since at night, tinted windows and dimmed side mirrors is very dark. Tesla finally added the button 4 and the full dashcam viewer, which was missing or non-functional before for me, and they made improvements to that system, giving the option to automatically save clips in a safety event. Previously with dashcam, you'd have to click save or have it save a clip when you honk. So if you didn't honk but you got in an accident, you'd have to remember to save that footage. Now, quote, "Dashcam can now automatically save clips whenever your vehicle detects the occurrence of a safety event, such as an accident or airbag deployment." Lastly, the feature to remain connected to Wi-Fi while driving, giving great integrations for hotspots if that's how you want to connect, has been added to the Model S. These are all great software improvements and features that have been missing, and there are still a number of features still to come for this car. It's missing rear screen gaming, which is the most notable feature, but one feature that Tesla originally announced for the hardware of this car, they appear to still be testing: a tilting screen. When Tesla originally announced the Model S, the screen details said, quote, "Exceptional responsiveness and left-right tilt." Then when the Plaid released, it simply said exceptional responsiveness. No tilting screen has been delivered to customers, and there were rumors that this feature would come in a future software update, but it was confirmed later that the hardware was not included in these cars, as we suspected. However, one was just spotted in the wild testing this screen, and we'll get there in just a second. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, EcoFlow. EcoFlow creates innovative, eco-friendly power solutions that bring great features like fast charging, renewable charging, and more. Their new Delta Mini includes an 882 watt-hour capacity, is lightweight, and very portable for on-the-go use. It allows you to meet 90% of power needs with its powerful 1400 watt AC output and fast recharge at maximum 900 watts through standard AC outlets from 0 to 80% in just 1 hour. With the Delta Mini, you can avoid power risks or inconvenience by powering devices through it. Your devices use grid power, but in the event of a sudden blackout, the Delta Mini immediately switches to battery supply mode within 30 milliseconds to keep those things going uninterrupted. One of the coolest features of the Delta Mini is that it accepts solar input. In perfect sunlight, connect the Delta Mini with one 400 watt solar panel and it can be fully recharged in 4 to 8 hours. Additionally, the Delta Mini can be monitored or controlled via the EcoFlow app over Wi-Fi or direct connection. Click the link in the description below to check out the new Delta Mini as well as the other great power solutions EcoFlow provides. Photos of the Plaid Model S testing out in the wild were just recently posted and shared by Teslarati. You can clearly see in these photos that the screen is tilted towards the driver, which could be a nice feature to have in this car since the screen is so large. If Tesla truly retired this screen tilt, it seems unlikely that they'd be out testing with it, but I have a few theories about this. The first theory is that Tesla is continuing to work on the Model S refresh with this display mechanism, and they plan to bring it out later along with the Model X refresh and then offer retrofits for people who took delivery without this feature. This is something that Sawyer Merritt mentioned in a tweet, but he was also the one confirming the screen tilt would arrive in software, which it didn't. My next theory is that while this is an exciting spotting of this feature we've been waiting to hear about, this could just be an older Model S refresh that Tesla previously tested with and continues to use. This Model S is all black with the 19-inch Tempest wheels. However, they're with the old Tempest wheels in silver that were never actually shipped to customers on this refreshed model. The new Tempest wheels are the same shape with a dark cover on them, and deliveries of these have only just begun fairly recently. So this very well could just be a Model S that happens to still have the tilting screen from when Tesla was actively testing that. Now they're just continuing to use it and the screen happens to tilt because it was what they were working with at the time. I wouldn't be surprised if they never bring out this tilt because it doesn't feel entirely necessary, but I'd love to know why they ended up dropping it. Now, regarding the performance of the Model S Plaid, I talked a couple videos ago about how Tesla officially set a world speed record for a production electric car at Nurburgring. They set this record with it completely unmodified, meaning that you can pick up the exact car from Tesla directly. Soon, Tesla plans to modify that car, adding aero surfaces, carbon brakes, and track tires, all things that could be done with someone like Unplugged Performance, if you really wanted to push your Plaid to the limits on the track. Still, this car doesn't have track mode like the Performance Model 3 does, and to this, Elon said, quote, "Track software update probably a few weeks away. I know, haha. Also waypoints and other things." Lots of new features coming to the Model S Plaid that are both new and already promised, so there should be a lot of news to come in that area in the next couple months. The Model X refresh still doesn't have any promised details, but Tesla continues to test it. I actually spotted one out at the Tesla Supercharger in Firebaugh this past weekend, and everything looks exactly as expected. First, the rear looks just like the Model X has for a while, and this one features Tesla test plates, which is what gave it away for me. The side view shows the gloss black door handles with a pretty rough alignment, and we can see from the front that it features the new all-black 20-inch Cyberstream wheels, which were recently changed from silver on Tesla's online configurator. It's a great-looking, fully blacked-out Model X, but of course the most interesting part is the interior featuring the yoke. This is the closest I could get without being extremely annoying, but it shows a normal, non-tilting screen, and the yoke just the same as the Model S and shown online. There wasn't a ton of new info to glean from spotting this Model X other than some first photos of the new wheels, photos of the yoke in action, and a normal fixed center screen. Hopefully Tesla is getting close to releasing this car, but they are dealing with supply constraints across the board, and it seems that their priority may be the Model S for the time being, since these cars share the same platform and the Plaid is selling very well. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't actually see the Model X until next year, which is a very long time for this car to be unable to be purchased. Next up, a quick update regarding Tesla's demand and inability to fully make their cars at the moment. Elon Musk sent out an email that leaks details for these issues and future delivery pushes, saying, quote, "The end of the quarter delivery wave is unusually high this time as we suffered, like the rest of the industry, from extremely severe parts shortages earlier this quarter. This meant building a lot of cars with missing parts that needed to be added later. I'd like to thank all Tesla techs and contractors that helped add back the missing parts, often in very difficult conditions. You rock. And we are for sure dying to reduce the size of the end of quarter delivery wave. The goal is to do so in Q4, allowing some Q4 production to spill over to delivery in Q1. However, early Q4 production was so challenging that we need to go super hardcore to make up for it over the next 22 days to ensure a decent Q3 delivery number. This is the biggest wave in Tesla history, but we got to get it done. Much appreciated, Elon." Elon specifically mentions decent delivery numbers instead of record-breaking, so we'll have to see when this quarter concludes if he's tempering expectations or being realistic. Now, further regarding Autopilot and full self-driving, as we were talking about earlier, Tesla finally released their FSD Beta version 10 to beta testers this week. According to Elon Musk, prior to its release, he said, quote, "The build I'm driving right now is almost there. FSD 10 will blow your mind." As we've seen in beta tester videos, it's an improvement with progress, but again, it is not quite mind-blowing and still needs work. According to Tesla Raj, quote, "More fine-tuning is needed." Well, Elon gave some more details about this on Twitter, saying, quote, "Highway stack is still production version, as it is more polished than FSD for now. Single stack for all should release in 10.1. 10.1 would be the version that Elon said could come to the general public, but after those V10 videos, it isn't looking too hopeful. In response to this and the general tendency to still make, quote, silly mistakes, Elon said, quote, "Think of Beta 10 as enabling a significantly higher local maximum than Beta 9. As far as future features to help it see more, he said, quote, "With 10.1, it will creep forward with more confidence and quickly reverse back a little, just as a person would, if it sees danger." Lastly, from Elon with Beta version 10, he said, "FSD 10 predicts height from video pixels directly, without needing to classify groups of pixels into objects. In principle, even if a UFO crashed on the road right in front of you, it would still avoid the debris. Some work still needed to tune sensitivity. Also, we need to figure out how to render voxel height of unknown objects in a way that isn't horrendous." As with every FSD Beta release, there are a ton of exciting improvements to this incredible technology, and it's easy to glance over those and look at the negatives. However, there are clear signs that this thing still isn't fully ready or as mind-blowing as Elon expresses. Hopefully, something can come to the general public soon. I won't be holding my breath, but I'd love to be proven wrong, as Tesla likes to do. Last up, a video leaked out of Giga, Texas, showing that Tesla is producing tons of megacasts for the Model Y, which should be starting full production soon. Tesla is aiming for production by the end of the year, and this video, which apparently leaked on Snapchat, shows just how many megacasts have been produced. It's a lot, and it's a great sign of production getting underway there. Of course, there's a lot more to see here, including whether or not this Model Y will launch with the new 4680 battery cells or not, but Tesla is hard at work on this factory that should greatly increase their vehicle output. The long-range Model Y right now isn't available until February if you order today, so the addition of this factory should help out with those delivery times, among other things like quality control. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the best accessories that you can get for your Model Y or Model 3, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.